The first thing which we are going to start with today is we are going to understand what is a VLOOKUP. Now, if I tell you VLOOKUP or vertical lookup has been used by you on a day-to-day basis without you all realizing, you will be a little surprised. Let me give you a few examples. When we appeared for examinations at school and college level, there was a sheet which used to be put up with everyone's marks. When we went to that sheet, we first looked up vertically to find out our exam ID or our roll call. What did we do? We first looked vertically. After looking vertically, once we found our roll call, we would look in the same row but in different column headers. What would we do? We would look in the same row but in separate column headers. That is exactly what VLOOKUP or vertical lookup does. That is exactly what vertical lookup or a VLOOKUP does. Okay, vertical lookup looks up the leftmost column and then gives you the data from the same row but from separate column headers. In order to make this a little more automated or in order to make this a little better so that we do not end up punching values, in order to make it dynamic as I call it, I can create a drop down here for the employee names. By creating a drop down for the employee names, what will happen? Every time I change the employee name from the drop down, I repeat, every time I change the employee name for the drop down, I will get the data about the same employee. So I will get the department of the employee, the status of the employee, the hire date of the employee, the salary of the employee. So basically, all the information relevant or related to the employee will appear in the same row. In order to create a drop down, I am going to go in this cell next to employee name, and here I am going to create my drop down using data validation. Data validation allows me to create a list of numbers. Data validation allows me to create a list of numbers. Click on data. Under data tools, you will see over here data validation. Data validation is the option which will enable me to create a drop down or a list. Click on data validation, and over here under validation settings, under validation criteria, we are going to allow a list. Under allow, we are going to allow a list. And in source of the list, we are going to select the items to be put in the list. We are going to select the items to be put in the list. Over here, I will click on the source, select the first employee name just below the name. Control Shift and down arrow. Control Shift and down arrow will enable me to select till the very end. And under the data validation, you will see that it is selected using the $sign or using something which is called as absolute cell referencing. That means this range is a fixed range. Click again here and say OK. And since I'm at the bottom of the sheet, in order to go to the top of the sheet, I will use Control Backspace. Control Backspace will allow me to go to the top of the sheet. Click on the drop down for employee name, and here I will choose the name. As I keep changing the employee name, I will see changes in the values. So in this way, I can create a drop down using data validation. In this way, I can create a drop down using data validation. Let me show it to you one more time. Select an empty cell, go to data, and under data tools, click on data validation. Data validation will allow you to create a drop down or a list. Click on this, click on allow and say list, and in source of the list, select the items. Control shift and down to select till the very end. Click here, click on OK, and now click on Control backspace. Come to the drop down, and from here you can choose the items. Please try this, everyone. Please try, everyone. Creating a drop down. In the meanwhile, your other team members, if you can remind them to join, please do that. Okay, great. Now let us begin with the Vlookup function or the Vlookup formula. Now Vlookup, as the name suggests, a vertical lookup. What does it do? It looks up the leftmost column. This is what Vlookup does. This can also be one of the limitations of Vlookup. What could be the limitation? That it only looks up the leftmost column. So what does Vlookup do? Vlookup looks up the leftmost column and gives you the data from the same row but from separate column headers. Come here next to department, and here I am going to write the formula for Vlookup. Begin the function with an equal to sign, Vlookup and open bracket. Begin the function with an equal to sign, write Vlookup and open the lookup value stands for what are you searching for or where are you searching. What are you searching for is I am looking for an employee name, and the employee name is in this particular cell called L8. Now here comes the part where your drop down is important, because I am giving the reference of the cell address L8. Column L, row 8, it is the address of the cell. But using my drop down, I can change the items in the cell and it will affect my department formulae where I am referring to the cell. I repeat, in the employee name drop down, I have different employee names. When I write the formulae for the department using Vlookup, I simply refer to the cell L8. I give the cell reference. So every time the value in cell L8 changes, you will see the corresponding department will also change. Comma. Now you will see table of array. Table of array stands for your data or your database, or basically where is the data within which you are searching. Table of array stands for your data or your database, or where is the data that you are searching for. Select the data, Control Shift and down arrow. Now, if you are going to drag your Vlookup formula across ranges, then it is important at this stage to lock the cells with a $sign. However, I am just punching in the formula once, so I do not need to lock it. But we will be doing examples where you may need to lock your range of cells. Comma, So you have your lookup value, that is where are you searching. Okay. Table of array is where is the data within which you are searching. So what are you searching for? Where are you searching? The third part of the VLOOKUP formula is column index number. Your column index number, as the name suggests, stands for the column from where you want to fetch the data. The column from where you want to fetch the data. So here you can go and choose the column from where you're picking up the data. Within the data, when I calculate the column, it will always be column number within selection. I repeat, column number within the selection. So if this is my selection and I want the department, look carefully, my department stands in the second column within the selection. The counting of column number will always be within selection and not from column A. I repeat, the counting of column number will always be within the selection and not from column A. Here my column index number I will take as 2 because department features in the second column within the selection. Comma again, 0 for an exact match. Now there are two types of matches. At the moment we are looking for an exact match. An exact match is used for product ID, coupon code, people's names, product name, category, subcategory, region, all of these values we always look for exact value. But when we look between numbers like sales values or profit or quantity, then we are looking for an exact approximate match where we are looking within ranges. But here we are looking for an exact match and we are looking for exact values. Here we are looking for an exact match and that is why we use 0 at the end. Press enter and this is the department that this particular employee belongs to. When I click on the drop down and scroll and change the employee name, you will see that the department changes. Come back and change the employee name one more time, you will see the department changes once again. So every time I change my employee name, you will see the department that the employee belongs to will keep changing. You will see the department that the employee belongs to will keep changing. Click on the drop down and change it and the department will keep changing. Please try everyone. I'm putting the VLOOKUP formula in chat box. If anyone wants me to repeat the formula, let me know. I will just go through it once more time. VLOOKUP stands for vertical lookup. Now, this type of VLOOKUP we are applying on the same sheet. That means on this sheet only is your data. On this sheet only you want your answer. Now, VLOOKUP looks up the leftmost column. And after looking up the leftmost column, it gives you the data from the same row but from separate column headers. So VLOOKUP looks up left column, then it gives you the data from the same row but from different column headers. Begin with an equal to sign, VLOOKUP, open bracket. Lookup value stands for what are you searching for. Here I am searching for the employee name and for this purpose I am going to refer to the cell M8. When I refer to the cell M8, the advantage is that when the value in cell M8 changes, you will see changes in the department, status, hire date, years and salary. Comma. Second part of the formula is table of array. Table of array stands for where are you searching. Table of RA stands for where are you searching. So come here, select this, Control Shift side, Control Shift down. And this is the whole data which I have selected. Comma. Now within this data, I need to select the column from where I'm fetching data. I repeat, within this data, I need to choose the column number from where I am selecting the data. And here the column is department. And here the column is department, which is second column within the selection. So column number 2 within the selection, comma again, 0 for an exact match and close. Enter. This is the data for this particular employee name. Change it and you will see department will change. You will see that the department will change. So every time I change the department, every time I change the employee name, you will see the department will auto update itself. Please try everyone. Okay. Once we complete that, let us punch in the formula for status and for the hire date and for the number of years. So begin with an equal to sign, write Vlookup for vertical lookup. Lookup value stands for what are we searching for, and here we are searching for the value in L8, comma. Where are we searching for the value of L8? We are searching for the value of L8 in this particular data. Click here, Control Shift side, Control Shift down, comma, Control backspace. Now they will ask me column index number. Column index number stands for which is the column from where you're picking up the data, which is the column from where you're fetching the data, and this has to be seen in the data which is selected. So whenever we count the column index number, we always count within selection and not from A. So the column index number is always calculated within the selected area and not from column A. Click on 3 because the status is in the third column. Comma again and 0 for an exact match. Close the bracket and enter. Now here you have the status which is given to you. Click on the drop down, change the name. You will see the values all change at one go. Every time I change the name, you will see changes in the status and the department. So change from the drop down will affect all instances where we have referred to that particular cell. Continue with the hire date, years and salary. is equal to VLOOKUP standing for vertical lookup, open. Lookup value stands for what are you searching for. Select the employee name, comma. Table of array stands for data or database. Control Shift side, Control Shift down. Now, if you want, if you give your data in table format, so if you save your data as a table, you could use the name of the table instead of this particular reference. So instead of writing this, you could give it the table name. In order to convert your data into table format, Control A to select all and Control T to convert this data into a table. Converting data into a table is something that we covered on our first day. So where is the data for your table? This is the data for my table, and my table has headers. Make sure you check this box. By enabling the headers for your data, I repeat, by enabling the headers for your data, you are making sure that your table can be referred to with the heading name. Click on OK, and when you click on table design, you will see your table has a name, and the name of your table is table 3. Now, using this information that this range of cells is actually table 3, we can now do a VLOOKUP and refer to this table which is on this particular sheet. I repeat, we will write the formula for VLOOKUP for the higher date referring to this data which is in table format or tabular format. Click here is equal to VLOOKUP, open bracket, is equal to VLOOKUP, open bracket. Select the employee name, comma, table of array. Table of array stands for where is the data. Now, formally, I used to go select using Control Shift side, Control Shift down. But now, this data is in what format? Table format. So, in order to call this data, I can use the name we have given the table. From table design, the name which you could see, which is table 3. So, rather than saying table of array selection, I can simply start writing. And as I write, I will get a prompt, and I know this is called table 3. So, I will simply double click on it. By double clicking, it considers this table 3, comma, column index number stands for the column number from where you want to fetch the data. Column index number stands for column number from where you want to fetch the data. And here the column number is 4 because the date is given in the 4th column. I repeat, the date is given in the 4th column. Comma 0 because again we are looking for exact match or accurate match, and enter. Now, instead of date, you can see a number. Let me ask you a question. What is this number that you are seeing? What is this number that you are seeing in higher date? What is this number that you are seeing in the higher date? In case of date, I am seeing a number. What is this number? Instead of date, I am seeing a number. What is this number? We did this yesterday. Anyone? What is this number? Yes, this number is the number of months from 1st Jan 99. How will we change this to proper date format? Either we go to the drop down here and choose short date, or we choose long date, or alternatively we can click on this number format dialog box. When we click on this number format dialog box, click on date, and from here you choose the choice of date which you prefer. Click on OK, and here you will now see your date formatted as per the date form. For the number of years, again, we will do a VLOOKUP and refer to table 3 is equal to VLOOKUP. Lookup value stands for what are you searching for. I'm searching for this, comma. Table of array stands for where are you searching. I am searching within table 3, comma. Column index number stands for column number within this selection. And here the column number is 5. So basically, the number of years the employees worked for features in the 5th column. I repeat, the number of years the employee has worked for features in the 5th column, comma, 0 for an exact match, close the bracket, enter. And finally, for salary, you can either go to the range and select, or what you can do is you can refer to the reference table 3. Please try this and complete this table, everyone. I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes to complete it. Please complete this, everyone. Try this, everyone, and once you all are done, we can proceed. Once you all are done, let us come to this bookstore sheet. Once you all are done, let us come to this bookstore sheet. On this bookstore sheet, first let us have a look at the date. On the bookstore sheet, there is a column called Book ID. Next to that, there is a column called Title. And next to that, there is a column called Author ID. Book ID, Title, Author ID. All of this data is on the same sheet, and the name of the sheet is Bookstore Sheet. Here you have the book ID, and based on the book ID, we need to find out the title. If you see that the book ID is also on this sheet and the title is also on this particular sheet. In order to make this dynamic, I am going to create a drop down or a list for the book ID. I am going to create a drop down or a list for the book ID. Now, what is the advantage of creating a drop down or a list for the book ID? Every time I change the book ID, you will see the title, the genre, the award and the rating of the book ID will automatically update itself based on the change by looking up the database. So in order to make this dynamic, the first thing which I am going to do is create a drop down for the book ID. When I create a drop down for the book ID or a list, every time I change the value in the book ID, you will see updated values appearing for my VLOOK. Go to book ID, next to it select a cell, and now Using data validation, we will create a drop. Now, if you have created drop down here, you can always copy this drop down and you can come here and you can paste. So basically, here also you will have a drop down. One second, there was already a drop down. So you come here, you copy the drop down and you paste it here. When you copy paste the drop down, you will see multiple drop downs. Can you see this? So every time I change the value, you will see my drop down changing. Similarly, I can create a drop down for the book ID. Select the book ID cell and from data validation, I'm going to click on drop down. So go to data validation, and under tools, there is data tools and there is data validation. Data validation, as the name suggests, allows you or gives you the benefit of creating a drop down, or as we may call it, a list, where we can select the items from the list. So data validation allows you to create a list where you can choose items from the list. So click on data validation, allow list, and in source of the list, we will choose the book IDs. In source of the list, we will choose the book IDs. Click over here and select one book ID. Control Shift down, select till the end, click again here and say OK. Control backspace will enable me to come back up. Now what I'm going to do is click on the book ID value and change. Every time I select a different book ID, once my VLOOKUP formula comes into place, I will be able to see updated values for title, for genre, for award, and for the rating. So please try creating a drop down using data validation before I go ahead with other explanation. Please try on the same book ID sheet creating a drop down. Let me know if you have any questions or queries. Okay, let us go ahead and now let us go and create a VLOOKUP formula for the title. Can anyone tell me if I need to create the formula for the VLOOKUP for the title, which sheet will I create the formula on? I mean, which is the sheet that I will refer to the data? Which is the sheet which I need to go to for title? For the VLOOKUP title, where is the data that I will refer to? Okay, the title is on this particular sheet. And if you look at the data, what is in the leftmost column? The book ID. And what does VLOOKUP look up? VLOOKUP looks up the leftmost column. So if I have the title, it'll look within. If I have the book ID, it will look within the book ID column. I repeat, if I have the book ID, it will look within the book ID column. And then it will look horizontally once it fetches the value for the book ID. So once I have the name of my book ID or the book ID acronym, based on that, I can fetch the title and other details about that specific book ID. So begin with an equal to sign, VLOOKUP, open bracket. Begin with an equal to sign, VLOOKUP and open bracket. Lookup value stands for what are you searching for? So lookup value stands for what are you searching for? So I'll say book ID, comma. Book ID, what are you searching for? Book ID, comma. Table of array stands for where are you searching? Table of array stands for where are you searching? And for that, I'm going to select Control Shift down arrow, comma again. Now it will ask me within this data, in which column does the title feature? So if you look very carefully by looking at this data, the title features in which column within the selection? Quickly. Title is in which column within the selection? Anyone? Which is the column where the title is in? Yes, the title is in the second column within the selection. Title is in second column within the selection, comma again, and now I'm going to look for the type of match. Now for book IDs, just like we had employee names or we have employee code, which type of match do you think book ID is? Which type of match do you think book ID is? And if I look carefully, the book IDs look like exact values. And since they are exact values and they are not between ranges, we will use 0 for an exact match. We will use 0 for an exact match. So lookup value we are looking up, table of array where we are searching, which column we are searching within, and 0 because we are looking for an exact match. Hit enter and this is the data for your title. Now what is the advantage? If I go to the drop down of the book ID and I change the value of the book ID, you will see that every time I change the value, the title will change by looking up this particular data. I repeat, the title will change by looking up this data, which is to the left hand side, which I have highlighted right now. Now I want you to go and write this formula and start with this particular sheet. Come on everyone, write the formula please. For those who are participating and for those who are writing in the chat box, thank you very much for making sure that the training happens in an interactive manner. In case any of your team members have not joined the session or have forgotten to join, please do remind them so that at least they can get the second part of the training session. Please try everyone and let me know if you have any questions or queries. I am putting the formula in the chat box. Please try the formula everyone and let me know in the chat box when you all complete. Okay, thank you, Pratmesh sir. Everyone else has completed? Has everyone else completed the formulae? Any questions? Any queries? Okay, thank you, Ganesh sir. Now let us go to genre. Look very carefully at the genre and tell me, can you see genre on the bookstore sheet? Let me repeat my question. Can you see genre on the bookstore sheet? Now, if I look at the bookstore sheet, I will not be able to see genre. If I look at the bookstore sheet, I will not be able to see genre. Now, in order to look for genre, there is a hint over here called info sheet. That means the data for genre can be found from info sheet. This is the info sheet and you do have a column for genre. So now when I am on the bookstore sheet and I'm looking up the book ID and I want the data for genre, what do I need to do? I need to go to info sheet, and from info sheet I need to fetch the data so that I can do a VLOOKUP on the bookstore sheet. Earlier when we were doing a VLOOKUP, the data was on this sheet, the formula was on this sheet, and our information system was also on the same sheet. So when we were selecting the data, it was always go to the top, select, come down and write the formula. Go to the side, select the data, come and continue with formula. Or go to the same sheet, so you're on the same sheet, take the name of the table and write the formula. These are the three methods which we have followed all along till now. But now, when the data is across multiple sheets and you're looking at different sheets within the same work, I repeat, you are looking at different sheets within the same workbook, you can use it in order to calculate the VLOOKUP across sheets. So this is a VLOOKUP where the data is on another sheet. So we are doing a VLOOKUP across sheets. In order to do a VLOOKUP across sheets, the formula remains the same. But the catch here is when you go to the other sheet to select the data, I repeat, when you go to info sheet or any other sheet to select the data, you remain there and finish your formula. I repeat, you go to the sheet to select the data, you remain there. Complete your formulae, and then when you come back, you will see that it is fetching data from that sheet. So rather than in going back and forth between sheets, I feel that you go to that sheet, you take the data, you complete the formula at one go, and then you proceed. Please let me know if this is okay, and then we will go and survey the info sheet. And then we will go and survey the info sheet. Now, in the info sheet, let us study the sheet together. Column B has book ID 1. Column C has book ID 2. So, if you see very carefully, the book ID here has been split based on alphabets and numbers into two separate columns. So on the info sheet, there are certain potential problems which need to be sorted. So when you go to the info sheet, you will see that book ID 1 and book ID 2 have been kept separately. What we need to do is we need to join the two book IDs and put the data in a single column. In order to do that, we will make a new heading called Final Book ID. And here, how will I join these two book ID 1 and 2? Can anyone tell me? How should I join book ID 1 and 2? What are your suggestions to join book ID 1 and 2? Anyone? How do I join book ID 1 and 2? Look carefully at the book ID. It is split into two separate columns, correct? Look at book ID 1. You have alphabets. Look at book ID 2. Yes. You have numbers. How will you join the two? Concatenate function. You can also use the shortcut for concatenate, which is and sign. Very good, Manisha. Good thinking. So here, now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take data from B4. I'm going to take data from C4 and put it together. What am I going to take data from? B4 and from C4, put the data together, is equal to select book ID 1 data and select book ID 2. Select book ID 1 and select book ID 2. Enter. Now you can see in this A column, I have written the title as final book ID. And here I have taken data from book ID 1 and from book ID 2 and put it together using the shortcut for concatenate, that is the and symbol. If you want to write it, you can do is equal to concatenate, open bracket, select B5, comma, select C5. Whichever formula you are comfortable with. If you like this, you can do it with this formula. If you like the full spelling of concatenate, you can do it with that as well. So based on you, you can decide how you would like to. Please try, everyone. And then when you come to the corner, what will you do to drag the formula? Come to the corner. Please try this, everyone. Please try, everyone. Please try, everyone. Have you completed, everyone? Once you complete this final book ID column, now in the leftmost column of the info sheet, you have book ID. So is there something common between both the data sets? Yes. In bookstore sheet, in the leftmost column, you have your book ID, correct? In the info sheet as well, you have your final book ID in the leftmost column. Now, where does VLOOKUP look up? VLOOKUP looks up the leftmost column and then gives you the data from the same row but from separate column headers. So what does VLOOKUP do? VLOOKUP looks up the leftmost column and then gives you the data from the same row but from separate column headers. So what does VLOOKUP do? VLOOKUP looks up the leftmost column and then gives you the data from the same row but from different column headers. And based on that concept, we can now do a VLOOKUP across two different sheets. When you're doing a VLOOKUP across two sheets, you start writing your formula at one location, correct? So I can start writing my formula here on the bookstore sheet. Now the catch here is when I go to the info sheet to select the data on my table, I remain there. I don't navigate back and forth. In navigating back and forth, generally the thread of our selected area increases. So when you go to the info sheet, you remain there. You complete your formulae there and only then do you come back. I repeat, when you go to the info sheet to select the data, you remain there and finish the formulae and then only hit the enter key. And when you hit the enter key, you will navigate back to your starting point of your formula. I will show it to you, see it once, and then we will do it together. So is equal to VLOOKUP, open bracket. Lookup value stands for what are you searching for. And here I am searching for the book ID. Select the book ID. Now, the advantage of the drop down, every time book ID changes, I will see updated title and updated genre. Comma. Table of array. Now, where is the data where I will look for this book ID to get the genre? I repeat my question. Where is the data where I will select and get my genre for the book ID? It is on the info sheet. Absolutely right. So I will navigate to the info sheet. Select the first cell here. And now Control Shift side, Control Shift down, comma. This is my data. Problem comes here. We come here to the sheet, which is different from where you started the formula. We select the data. Then we decide to go back and continue the formula. If we forget column index number, we come back. So what happens? We keep going back and forth, and then the sheet references keep on increasing. Then we decide we will manually update that. So we go and press backspace to remove the sheet reference. Instead of that, start the formula, go to the data sheet, remain there. Now they're asking me column index number. So which is the column from where I want to fetch the data? I want to fetch the data from column 4. I want to fetch the data from column 4. So I will write 4, comma. Now they will ask me type of match. And because I'm looking for specific values, I will say 0 for an exact match and close the bracket. When I click on 0 for exact match and I close the bracket and I hit enter key, see which sheet I am on? Info. But as soon as I click on the enter on the keyboard, I will be brought back to my bookstore sheet. So the starting point of the formula is where you will be returned when you complete the VLOOKUP form. So do not try to back and forth move between your sheets when you are doing a VLOOKUP on a different sheet. Make sure that you complete the formula on that sheet, because when you hit enter, you will be brought back to where you started from. Let me show this to you one more time and then you can try it. Begin with an equal to sign. VLOOKUP open bracket. Lookup value stands for what are you searching for? I am searching for this book ID, comma. Where is my data? My data is on info sheet. But an important point to note is, in my data, my leftmost column is book ID. Why? Because VLOOKUP always looks with reference to leftmost column. Click on info sheet. Come to the top, Control Shift side, Control Shift down, comma again, 1, 2, 3, 4. In the fourth column, you have the book ID, the genre. Within the selection, in the fourth column, you have the genre. See this? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Fourth column within the selection is genre, comma 0 because I'm looking for an exact match or I'm looking for exact values. Close the bracket and enter. As soon as I click on enter, it will take me to where I started punching my formula. See this. So when we do a VLOOKUP across sheets, do not try to erase. I'll show you the mistake which we do also. Is equal to VLOOKUP. Lookup value, book ID, comma. We go to info sheet. We select the data. Then we do comma. Then we decide we will complete the formula. See what is happening. We come here. But after coming here, we remember we didn't count column index number. So we go back to info. And then we write over here 5. Sorry, 4. Then we do comma 0, enter. Can you see what happened? This is the kind of error which happens when you try to move back and forth. So then we start manually deleting things. But instead of that, the hack here or the shortcut here is go there, finish the formula, hit enter, you'll be brought back. Please try, everyone. Please try, everyone. VLOOKUP across sheets, very, very important. Okay. Has everyone completed? Can anyone give me a heads up in the chat? Everyone completed VLOOKUP across sheet? Okay, cool. Thank you, Manisha. Now let's go to the award sheet. Now the next thing which we need on our VLOOKUP sheet is we need to fetch the award from the award sheet. I repeat, we need to fetch the award from the award sheet. But see how many book IDs are there and see how many books have received award. What is the, can you tell me what is it? Tell me. What is the difference between the award sheet and the bookstore sheet? Can you see any difference? Anyone? So now, if you see this book ID, there are so many book IDs here, but on award sheet, you have the title in the leftmost column. So the first difference is in the book ID, in the bookstore sheet, the book IDs were in the leftmost column, but here you have the title in the leftmost column. That is the first difference. What is the second difference? The quantity of data. Here in the bookstore sheet, there is a lot of data as compared to this data. So that means all the books which have got awards are not over here. That means not all books have got award. Some books have got awards and some books have not got awards. Okay, so some of the books have awards and other books do not have awards. So here if you see in the bookstore sheet, you have data up till row number 59. So 58 if you don't count the heading. And on award sheet, you have data only up till row number 20. So that means all books have not received award. That means all books have not received award. Now what I'm going to do over here is, now from the bookstore sheet, I'm going to perform a VLOOKUP where I'm going to fetch data from the award sheet. And what is the deciding factor over here? Here, when you see the leftmost column, it is title. And that is why when I perform a VLOOKUP here, I will not be looking up the book ID. What will I be looking up instead? Instead, I will be looking up the title. It is the title which I am looking up. Why? Because in the award sheet, in the leftmost column, I have title. There is no book ID here. So if I look up title, I will get an answer from the award sheet. But if I look up book ID, I will not get any answer. I repeat, why? Because in the award sheet, the leftmost column features the title. Click on bookstore and here I'm going to write the VLOOKUP formula. Is equal to VLOOKUP open bracket. Is equal to VLOOKUP open bracket. Lookup value stands for what am I searching for. So here, instead of looking up the book ID, in case of award, I will look up the title. This is a very, very common mistake which we all make when we are doing VLOOKUP across sheets. We fail to detect the data in the leftmost column. And because we are not aware of what we are looking up and what is in the leftmost column, although we write the formula correctly, because of not selecting the correct lookup value, we get errors in the formula. Comma, table of array. For the table of array or for the data or the database, we will need to navigate to the award sheet. So what do we need to do? We need to go to the award sheet and select the data. So let us go to the award sheet, and after going to the award sheet, we are going to select the data. So look up title, take the data from award sheet. Will I go back? No. Will I go back to bookstore sheet? No. I will remain on award sheet and finish the formula. I will complete the formula on the award sheet only, comma, on the award sheet. First column title, second column award name. So which is the column from where I'm fetching the data? I need award name. Which column has award name? Column number 2. So within my selection, column number 2 has the award name. Comma again, 0 for exact match, close bracket. 0 for exact match, close bracket. Finish the formula on award sheet, and when I press enter, I will be taken back here to the award cell. Taken back to the award cell. Now, when I change the book ID, because changing is from the drop down, you will see that some books have not got an award. Can you see this? Is my formula wrong? No. If my formula was wrong, I would have not got an award for the earlier book. Correct? But I got an award. That means on the award sheet, the quantity of data is less. Not all books have got awards. Correct? The quantity of the data is less and not all books have got awards. And that is why what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come here and I'm going to envelope this VLOOKUP with an if error. Do not write the if error first and then start building the VLOOKUP formula. No. You always write the main formula first and then envelope that in the if error function or formula. Yesterday we did the if error function or formula to take care of errors in functions and formula. But first I want you to write this VLOOKUP for the award sheet. Please try, everyone. Once you will complete the VLOOKUP, let me know. Then I will show you how we are going to envelope the if error function around the VLOOKUP formula. Have you all completed this? Can we go ahead with if error? Has everyone completed this? Can we go ahead with if error? Do you all want me to repeat this? We look up across sheets by looking up title. In case you're getting an error, just check. You all probably could be looking up the book ID. And that is the reason you all are getting the error. In order to go ahead with the if error function to take care, I'll show you the if error function here. Open. So is equal to if error. If I get a value, it will show me the value as it is. And here, for the value, I will take support from the VLOOKUP formula. So basically, the VLOOKUP formula is giving me a value. If it is giving me a value, the if error function will display the value which VLOOKUP gives me. But if the VLOOKUP does not find enough data or the VLOOKUP does not find enough awards, in that case, there will be an error. If VLOOKUP does not find enough data, there will be an error. And in order to take care of that error, value if error can be provided by me, which is the second part of the if error function or formula. Value if error is helping me in order to give a value between the error and the value which is got. So basically what is happening is, instead of getting any error in your sheet, so something like this, if you are getting an error value, if you are getting an error value like this, like an NA, okay, if you are getting an error value like a hash NA, in that case, what will happen is the sheet does not look very presentable. And to take care of this, I can say hyphen, or I can say no value, or I can say blank cell. So it will display a blank cell, something like that. So let me come here And I will write over here if error, open bracket, is equal to if error, open bracket, value. So for value, I will get VLOOKUP formula, comma. For value if error, I will use empty cell or I will use hyphen. So open quotes, hyphen, close quotes. This is for hyphen. For empty cell, what will I do? Open quotes, space bar, close quotes. Close bar. Open quotes, space bar, close quotes will give me a blank cell for display purposes. See this. Please try, everyone. Please try, everyone. VLOOKUP with if error. If anyone has any questions or queries, or if they want anything to be repeated, let me know. So basically, you do your VLOOKUP as it is. After doing your VLOOKUP, we envelope the VLOOKUP function with the if error function. Have you completed, everyone? Can we go to the rating sheet now? Now let us go to the rating sheet or the review sheet. Now can you see the data in the rating sheet? In the leftmost column, what do I have over here? Anyone? It is called reviewer ID, but actually what is it? Anyone? What is reviewer ID's data signifying? Can anyone tell me in the chat box? Perfect. It is signifying book ID. So in the leftmost column over here, I have the reviewer ID, which is actually the book ID only. So the leftmost column on the review sheet is the book ID. Let us go to the bookstore sheet. Now when I come to the bookstore sheet and I put a formula for VLOOKUP, I will again be looking up the book ID only. Why? Because on the review ID, on the reviewer sheet, the leftmost column is the reviewer ID. Click on rating is equal to VLOOKUP, open bracket. Click on rating and write is equal to VLOOKUP. Lookup value stands for what are you searching for. I repeat, lookup value stands for what are you searching for. What am I searching for here? Here I am searching for the book ID. I repeat, here I am searching for the book ID. So click on book ID, comma. Table of array stands for where am I searching? Table of array stands for where am I searching? I am searching on the reviewer sheet. So I will navigate to the reviewer ID sheet and I will complete my formula here. This is my third example of VLOOKUP across sheets. Select the data, comma as a separator. Now I need to provide the column index number. Column index number stands for column number from where I need to fetch the data. Column number from where I need to fetch the data. And I'm fetching the data here from the second column. Comma again, 0 because again I'm looking for exact values for specific book IDs which are referred to as reviewer IDs on this sheet. When I hit enter, I will be taken to the source where I started the formula. And I see an NA here. Do you think my formula is wrong? No. My formula is correct, but if you see, all books have not been reviewed. If you see over here, only 19 books have been reviewed. So there are few reviews. Correct? And because of that, there will be scenarios where you will get an NA error. In order to take care of this, what will I do? I will envelope this in the if error function in order to take care of my error values. So first write your formula. See it working for some items and it is not working for some items. When you realize that the formula is working only for certain items and it is not working for the remaining items, we envelope it in the if error function. Click here, if error, open bracket, comma, and for error value, I will do open inverted commas, hyphen, close inverted commas, close bracket, enter, and now I have my if error to take care of errors. Now, for this particular book ID, there is no award and neither is any review or rating. But because of the presence of the if error function, in one case, I am displaying a blank cell. The cell is not actually blank. For display purposes, it is appearing blank. And in this cell, it is filled with a hyphen. So, value if false, I have given a hyphen in this particular scenario. Please try everyone. Please try everyone. Complete this and let me know. And then we will begin with a different type of a VLOOKUP where we talk about approximate matches. Up till now, whichever examples of VLOOKUP we have considered, we have always looked for 0 at the end or an exact match. But there are scenarios where we can have an approximate match also being taken for a VLOOKUP. There are scenarios where we can also have an approximate match being taken for a VLOOKUP. What are the scenarios for an approximate match, and how do you write VLOOKUP with approximate match is what we are going to talk in the remaining examples. Please try, everyone, and let me know when you all complete. Okay, has everyone completed VLOOKUP for approximate match? Can we go to VLOOKUP for approximate match? Okay, this is the data that we are going to consider for VLOOKUP for an approximate match. Now here, if you see, you have salaries greater than 0 but less than 15,000, greater than 15,001 but less than 25,000, and here between 25,001 to 40,000. Now, how are we reading the data? We are reading the data 0 to 15,000, tax is 5.60. 15,001 to 25,000, 7.20. 25,001 to 40,000, tax is 8.30. And any value above 40,000 is 9.70. Come here and say no fill. And now we are going to do a VLOOKUP within a range. Now, when you're doing a VLOOKUP across a range of data, at the end, instead of using 0 for an exact match, we use something which is called as 1 for an approximate match. So 0 always gives you exact values. So coupon codes, product IDs, all of these things we use 0 for an exact match. But when we use 1 at the end, 1 is used for an approximate match. 1 gives you value from ranges and 1 gives you approximate answers. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this cursor here and calculate the tax based on this particular range of cells. I'm going to put the cursor here, and now we will start writing the formulae for VLOOKUP using approximate match. In order to do a VLOOKUP for an approximate match, we will write the same way, is equal to VLOOKUP, open bracket, is equal to VLOOKUP, open bracket. First, it will ask me again, lookup value. Lookup value stands for what are you searching for? Lookup value stands for what are you searching for? And here I'm searching for salary. Click on salary. Every time the salary changes, I want my tax to update itself. Every time the salary changes, I want my tax to update itself. So lookup value salary, comma, table of array stands for data or database. So I am going to select the data or my database, comma, column index number. Column index number stands for column number from where I want to fetch the data. Column index number stands for column number from where I want to fetch the data. So column index number is the number within the selection from where I want to pick up the data. Now I want to pick up the tax, correct? Tax is in third column within the selection, correct? We don't count from A, we count within the selection. So 1, 2 and 3. Tax is in the third column. So 3, 0, no. Here we are looking for approximate match. And for approximate match, we always use 1. 1 helps us to see approximate values. 1 helps us to see approximate values. Hit enter and you will see the tax. Hit enter and you will see the tax. Click on the salary cell. Click on the salary cell, change the value. As soon as I change the value, you will see the updated tax. Click again here, write 2,500. Again, you will see the updated tax. Please try this formula, VLOOKUP for approximate match. I'm copy pasting the formula in the chat bar. Please try, everyone. Have you all completed this, everyone? Give me a moment. I'll just take your attendance till you all finish this. Then I will teach you ahead. Okay. Okay. Once you all are done with this, I'm going to explain to you a little bit more about VLOOKUP for an approximate match. For that, I'm going to copy the first and the third column. For that, I'm going to copy the data with the first and the third column. Have you all completed this? Let me know, then I will explain this scenario. Has everyone completed? Has everyone completed? Let me know in the chat box. Okay, great. Now, when we started VLOOKUP, I told you that VLOOKUP does something. It looks up the leftmost column. This is a job of VLOOKUP, or this is the role that VLOOKUP does. This can also be a limitation of VLOOKUP, correct? Now, VLOOKUP looks up the leftmost column. So basically, it is looking up this column. So do you think it requires this yellow column? No. VLOOKUP did not require this salary less than column. But for your understanding, I added a new column where I said less than, so that you could follow that between this bracket to this bracket, 5.6%, between this bracket and 25,000, 7.20%. So this extra column was added by me because we are used to reading data side by side for ranges. But actually, what is VLOOKUP doing? VLOOKUP is doing this. It is reading the data in this manner. 0 to 15, 15 to 25, 25 to 40. This is the manner in which VLOOKUP is reading the data. But in order to understand that, you have to understand that that is because VLOOKUP only looks up the leftmost column. And that is why VLOOKUP only considers data in the leftmost column. So let us come here and let us write a formula for VLOOKUP, and we will get the same answer which we got with this column. So whether we have two columns of data or we have one column of data, VLOOKUP only considers the leftmost column and then gives you the data from the same row but from different column headers. So when I have 24,000, if here it is giving me 7-point tax, by looking up here, it is actually only seeing this. But what do I personally feel? I feel it is looking at this data. Correct? That's what you felt. That between this and this, it is falling here, it gave me this. But actually, VLOOKUP is only looking up this. Let us prove it by using this data where I have only first column and I have the third column. And then I'm going to perform a VLOOKUP for the same salary value in this particular cell. Begin with an equal to sign, VLOOKUP open bracket. Lookup value stands for what am I searching for? I am searching for this data. Comma as a separator. Table of array stands for where am I searching? Table of array stands for where am I searching? So I am searching within this data. Correct? Comma again, column index number. Column index number stands for column number within the selection from where I want to fetch the values. So within the selection, I want to fetch the value from J column. Within the selection, I want to fetch the value from the J column. So I will say within this data, column index number will be 2 because we start counting within the selection. So 2, comma, and am I looking for an exact match or an approximation? Since I am looking within ranges, when you search within ranges, you always look for approximate values or approximations. And that is why I will write 1 here for approximate match. Close bracket, hit enter, and this is the answer. Come over here, go to the drop down and change the percentage formatting. What is the difference between the percentage formatting here and this sign? The sign outside gives you rounded values, but the sign within the drop down gives you percentage with the point form. So with the drop down, you get more accurate, more specific values, but the option outside gives me rounded off values. Please try this, everyone. Okay, once you have completed, let us go ahead and let us go to this particular data where we are going to perform a VLOOKUP for an approximate match. Now look at this data and let us first understand the requirements of this data. In the first column of this data, I have the names of my employees. In the second column, I have the salaries. In the third column, I have the number of dependents. In first column, I have names of employees. Second column, salary. Third column, number of dependents. Based on salary and number of dependents, based on salary and number of dependents, I can get the tax rate applicable. So basically, there are two factors on which the tax rate is applicable. One is salary, which is the leftmost column, if you see in the data. And two is the number of dependents, which is nothing but your column index number. Correct? So here I have the salary, I have the number of dependents. So based on the salary and the number of dependents, I need to see the tax rate. Correct? In order to do that, I am going to write the VLOOKUP function or formula. Is equal to VLOOKUP open bracket. Is equal to VLOOKUP open bracket. Lookup value stands for what are you searching for. Lookup value stands for what are you searching for. Now, in order to see what you are searching for, we will see the item in the leftmost column. So your lookup value is determined by the item in the leftmost column within your data or database. So in the leftmost column, I have salary, and that is why from this data also I will select salary as the lookup value. So basically, every time the salary changes, I would like my tax rate to be calculated based on the number of dependents. So there are two factors based on which the tax rate is calculated: salary and number of dependents. Select the salary, comma. Table of array stands for data or database. That means where is the data from where I need to search. Data or database, where is the data where I need to search. And here the table of array is this particular data. We will eventually have to use a $sign to lock this data so that when I drag it, my answer does not change. But for the first attempt, I am not changing. Comma as a separator. Now they are asking me column index number. Okay. Column index number stands for column number from where you need to fetch the data. Here I have multiple columns, but number of dependents 2 features in this column. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. I repeat 1, 2, 3 and 4. So column index number is in 4th column within the selection. Column index number is in 4th column within the selection. So here, though number of dependents are 2, it features in column 4. Though number of dependents are 2, it features in column 4. So for now, I will write 4, comma, and 1 because it's an approximate match. Why am I writing 1? Because it is not an exact match. I am looking within salary ranges. And when you look within ranges, we always use 1 for an approximate match. If they were exact values, I would use 0. But in this scenario, since there are approximate values and ranges of cells for salaries, I will use 1 for approximate match. Close bracket, hit enter, and this is the data. But the problem is, when I drag this data 1, my reference will change. See this. And this is actually looking up this data. Can you see this? And in every scenario, it is only looking up column index number 4. Are you getting the issue which is happening here? So basically, my number of dependents should change based on this. Correct? And this data needs to be fixed or locked by using $sign. Would you like to try it, everyone? Would you like to try this example? Let me see what you all can come up with. Let me see what you all can come up with in terms of formulae. Anyone can think of the formula? Okay, very nice. VLOOKUP. Okay. You have only locked the latter part. You have to lock even $H, $3. But this 4 can be only fourth column it's picking up data. How do I make it dynamic? Partly you're right. The $sign you got correct. Good work. But now what about the column index number, which needs to be based on number of dependents? Okay, let me try and give you all the formulae. Is equal to VLOOKUP, open bracket. Lookup value salary, correct, comma. Table of array data or database, that is this whole thing. I will use $sign to lock it. Dollar before H, dollar before 2, dollar before O, dollar before 19 to lock the whole range, comma. Till here, perfect. Now is the catch. Column index number 2 is actually in column 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see the next one. Column index number 4 is actually in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Column index number 6 is actually in column number 8 within the selection. So basically, my number of dependents plus 2 is giving me the actual column from where to pick up the data. It is giving me the actual column from where to pick up the data. So So VLOOKUP, we are looking up the leftmost column. Where is the data of the database? The whole data. Number of dependents plus 2 is giving me the actual column number from where I need to fetch the data. And the plus 2 is a pattern which we have detected in the data. Plus 2 because that is the pattern that we have detected in the data. Comma again and 0 for an exact match. But in this case, we are looking for approximate values or approximations, and that is why I will be using 1 for an approximate match. I will use 1 as an approximate match. Why? Because I'm looking up within ranges. Close the bracket, hit enter, and this is the answer. Now when I come to the corner of the cell and double click and drag the formulae, my answer will come correct. Check the formulae, see if you are able to follow. If you are not convinced, we will again go through this tomorrow when we connect. Let me know if you have any questions or queries. Let me know if you all have any questions or queries, or we can call it a day.